Let's face it, no matter what you do, if you're black in America, you gonna get shot. Hello, everyone. I'm author R.L. Raintree, and this is Reels and Reads, where I give honest reviews and occasional spoilers. Today, I am reviewing How Not to Get Shot by comedian D.L. Hughley. This book came out during the Black Lives Matter movement. It was in response to something Megyn Kelly said. I remember Megyn Kelly kind of trying to use that as a clapback, and it didn't quite land. Essentially, what it was a debate between D.L. Hughley and Megyn Kelly about, what a black man can do to not get shot by the police. And plot twist, nothing. There's absolutely nothing. In fact, he even goes into the fact that even women can't avoid being killed by the police. But this is a political satire book, in case you were wondering. D.L. Hughley did not take on a serious task of telling black people what they need to do to survive. I know some people were confused and thought he was basically saying, this is what you have to do to not get shot. No, this is more satirical. It was, hey, if you follow orders, if you behave yourself, if you don't look threatening, no matter what you do, you will be shot. There's always a reason to justify shooting us. And that was really the point of the book. And that was really the point that he had to make with Megyn Kelly, who, now that years have gone by, we see she's only gotten worse and D.L. Hughley has only gotten better. So there's that. One of the things I loved about this book is that it maintained D.L. Hughley's sense of humor, and it maintained his voice. He speaks to us directly, like we're all in the room with him having a comical conversation, almost like he's at doing a stand-up routine, and it just happens to be about this. When you see Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams delivering messages in their comedy, I feel like this is what they think they're doing. He is delivering a message, and he is cracking jokes on every single page. I mean, it makes you feel guilty for laughing, to be honest, because I'm not supposed to be laughing at this. This is not supposed to be funny, and yet it is. So I feel like D.L. Hughley accomplished in this book what Dave Chappelle and what Cat Williams were trying to accomplish with their comedy, but on stage. This is just in literary form. I also liked how his comedic take on the most painful things. It doesn't ridicule it, it doesn't belittle it, it doesn't trivialize it. It makes it digestible. I can tell you that I purposely refrain from reading books that involve historical trauma, which is why I don't do historical romance or any type of historical piece. I mean, getting through some of Toni Morrison's works are difficult for me because, I mean, as I've said in a previous video, I have family members who, at least during my lifetime before they passed away over the age of 100, who remember a lot of this stuff that people are making a romance out of, that people are making, fiction out of. So I personally can't handle the trauma when I know people in my bloodline who have lived it, my direct bloodline. But D.L. Hughley found a way to keep this gently yet respectfully humorous while dealing with the things that we know, at least right now, we can't change, and things that seem inevitable. We will always be pulled over for nothing. We will never not be dressed in a way that's considered intimidating. I mean, me having a cutoff shirt might suggest that I sell drugs. I mean, it's understanding that nothing we do is good enough to justify being allowed to live. And that's a heavy thought. And yet he found a way to make this nonfiction book readable, digestible, without coming out of it feeling depressed. Now, there were only two small things that didn't work for me in this book, and I had to try hard to find something I didn't like. One of the things I didn't like is that it is one long joke. So the joke is, once you figure it out after the first couple of chapters or the first couple of sections within a chapter, you realize that everything he says is an oxymoron, right? Okay, well, you have to dress a certain way, and then there's the joke. It's the same joke for all of the pages. I believe there's a little over 200 pages. So it's basically the same running joke, and I kept feeling like this could have been an essay. Simply because once you get the rhythm of the book after the first chapter or two, it begins to drag. It's like, okay, we get it. It's a joke. We get it. It's satire. And it's just consistently the same formula. Do this. Oh, wait, no, that's not going to keep you alive. We'll do that. Oh, wait, no, that's not. And it's like, there's only so much of that I can handle. The book could have been shorter. And again, it could have just been an essay. But, I mean, it's not something that would stop me from recommending this book, and it definitely was not a DNF, but it did get to the point to where it was a bit repetitive with that one long joke. The other thing that I didn't like about this book, and again, I'm using the term did not like loosely, if you are socially aware as a black person, you're not hearing anything new. You already know all of this, so it's hard to laugh about it because you've probably already cried about it. I feel like the target audience should have been teenagers or non black people who pretend to know what we go through but don't, whether they be liberal or conservative, Democrat, socialist, communist, Republican. It doesn't matter. I think it's this book is best served for non-black people who don't know much about what it feels like to not even be able to go in public without fearing being shot. But for a person like me who already knows this, where Black history was part of my home lessons as well as my school lessons, I didn't really learn anything from here. I basically just had someone telling a joke about the things that I already knew. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're locked in, if you're cued in with your culture, if you're cued in with all of the ways the American system, judicial system, food systems, all of our systems here in America is rigged against us, then you're not really going to get much out of this book. Now, I will pause for a moment and say I take a lot of fault for how I see this book in a negative light. The few things that I did find wrong with it is because I bought it back when it first hit. And if I remember correctly, this was, again, Black Lives Matter movement. Here we are years later. I bought it for my teenage godson, and he just would not read nonfiction, and he would not read about the plight of his people. He would just kept avoiding it. He just wants the fun stuff. And so I said, no, I don't think you understand. You're a teenager now. You are now going to look aggressive. You're now going to look like a danger. You're getting your driver's license. Like, I don't think you understand what it is I'm trying to get through to you, to the point where it was stressing me out. And he is a big fan of D.L. Hughley, so I thought, maybe DL can help me out. And it worked. It got right through to him. And I was supposed to read it, but I never picked it up. I mean, I did a couple of posts on social media holding the book, but I never read it personally until now. And that's a big mistake because now I'm reading it after the moment has passed. I'm reading it outside of the context of Black Lives Matter movement being in full swing, a recent murder. Well, you would think that keeps happening, but a very fresh and recent murder of a black man. So I'm coming into it years later. It doesn't have that same sense of urgency, that same freshness that reading this book when it first came out would have had. And that's all my fault. That's a lesson to me that if I buy a book for my TBR, I need to read it within 30 to 60 days. So again, I recommend this book to all teens, no matter what their ethnicity is. I recommend this to all adults that are non-black, because I feel like black people will already get this, but all adults that are non-black that don't quite grasp the concept of nothing we do keeps us safe in a traffic stop or around police officers, I would definitely see giving this to someone for Christmas or something like that. Hopefully they'll actually read it, because the issue is the people who need to read it probably won't read it. But the reason why I say that this is great for teenagers from middle school on up is because it's so funny, and because it's sprinkled with a few swear words here and there. They're going to be locked in. You cuss around a teenager, they're locked in. And it's filled with jokes. And this is something that a teenager's never going to tire of. And it's written in such a way that they can understand it. That's not to say it's an elementary novel or book, but I definitely see teens from middle school on up to high school getting a lot out of this book. Even a couple of college students who are just starting out, like freshman to sophomore. But again, if you're a person who's very learned and very well aware of the plight of black people, you're not going to get much out of it but a couple of laughs. And that in and of itself may be all you need. So that being said, I gave this book 4.5 stars. I highly recommend it to a younger demographic for which it was not targeted. Well, that's my review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know if you read this book or any other books by D.L. Hughley. And once again, thanks for watching.